Hello and welcome to News at 10 live from our studios here in Accra. My name is Bright Nanamfo, and from now to 10:30 we'll tell you exactly what's happening in Ghana and beyond. But first, a quick recap of the day's major news highlights. Beginning from here, the President of the National House of Chiefs, Togo, wants ECOWAS to work towards ensuring effective democratic process to enhance the rule of law and development in Togo. The traditional leader was speaking when he interacted with our reporter on the issue in Togo. We'll tell you more about that later on. And here in Accra, former President of Ghana, Dramani Mahama, has urged leadership and supporters of the NDC in Ghana to quit the blame game, forgive and reconcile as the party marks 8 months in the position. President Mahama said it is time to leave the past behind and forge ahead for the 2020 general elections. That was what he said in Tamale. And former President of Nigeria, Olusegun Obasanjo, has meanwhile questioned whether President Nyasingbe had anything new to offer. On international front, we're telling you tonight that U.S. country music singer Don Williams, who enjoyed great success with his easygoing singing style, has died aged 78 after a short illness. Don Williams began his solo career in 1971, amassing 17 #1 country hits. And of course, those were the day's major news highlights. We're grateful for your time tonight. Thanks so much. If you're watching us across the country and beyond, this is your show. Let's start with a big one. The former president of Ghana, Dramani Mahama, has urged the leadership and supporters of the NDC in Ghana to quit the blame game, forgive and reconcile as the party marks 8 months in the position. President Mahama said it is time to leave the past behind and forge ahead for the 2020 elections.
Former President Mahama was speaking at Edeba after a walk organized in the northern region to mark the National Democratic Congress's 8 months in opposition. It afforded party executives in the region the opportunity to touch base with supporters who felt rejected by the rank and file of the NDC during the 8 years rule of the party. The former president said a period after the defeat of the NDC should be used for healing and reconciliation of the rank and file of the party ahead of the 2020 general elections.
The tongue cannot leave the mouth because it's angry with the teeth, or the teeth leave the mouth because it's angry with the tongue. Whatever they do, they must live and they must work together. And so the time has come for us to put our differences aside and all of us work together.
He suggested the NDC consider replicating the work in the 10 regions of Ghana as a strategy to mend the cracks in the party.
If and when I'm available, I will join the other regions to do the same thing.
The minority leader and member of parliament for the Tamale South constituency, Haruna Idrisu, questioned the sustainability of financing government-free senior high school education and urged President Nene Akufo-Addo to rethink the policy's finance. General Secretary of the NDC, Asedun Ketia, urged the MPP party to register at the NDC School of Ideology to be taught the principles of logic.
When we are pointing out your failures to you, you are now telling us that governance is not like planting cassava. If they have problem with logic, let them come and register with NDC party school. We will train them on logical thinking.
The NDC there in Tamale on a unity walk. Let's take a look at the issue there. Dr. Edward Boateng is a senior lecturer at the Department of History and Political Studies at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. Dr. Boateng, grateful for your time tonight.
Good evening.
So let's begin from here. The NDC is trying to pick up the pieces. The call for unity, is it belated?
I think that it's a step in the right direction. You would realize that since the party leadership asked the party members not to be, seeking redress of their problem outside the party's mechanism, you've seen there's been some level. And I believe that at this point, the former president's call for unity goes to strengthen or what has already been done. And I don't think it is too late. I think it is a step in the right direction, and it will help in healing the wound that is currently in the NDC.
I see. If you listen to leadership of the party since they lost the 2016 election, do you think that a walk, this kind of political activity, is what the party needs to bring members together?
Oh, absolutely, yes. I mean, anything and everything that party members will do to show that sportsmanship, that unity, that brotherhood or sisterhood that a party is needed is something worth undertaking. And I believe that even though we are not seeing the rally and not those things, whatever it is that bring that cohesion, and I think this is probably a step that will eventually build on ensuring the unity and the kind of healing that the party needs.
Do you sincerely think that having a unity walk in all 10 regions of the country is what can bring the founder of the party, perhaps, if it is right to say, back to the party?
With the founder, it is not about unity walk. It is about the party recognizing its role, and two, the fact that the party recognized that the founder need them to be in power. I believe that for the 8 years that the founder did not get the kind of people that is in there, and also given the fact that at this point the founder cannot do without the father, I would rather prefer them NDC to be in power than having other opposition. I believe that once he sees that individuals within the party, in the grassroots, in a way, their needs are being met, definitely he will be forced to join them. So yes, the unity work may bring together the grassroots and individuals, but with the funder, it might require a special kind of an arrangement or a reconciliation talk that the leadership would have to do with him.
We know the sentiment in the party. Some groups in the party insisting that the former President Mahama must not be made to lead the party into another election. Now, in organizing a unity walk and trying to get members of the NDC back to the fold and to foster unity, wouldn't it have been better to have seen perhaps the chairman of the party leading this unity walk instead of the former president?
I think what the NDC need at this point is someone who can actually be seen as a unifier. Yes, when you lose an election, there may be different factions who may wish that one of theirs become the next leader of the party. The chairman doing it would have been nice, but if nobody has taken any initiative and the former president is the one doing it, I don't see anything wrong with that. That may even go to project him as someone who can actually lead the party, bring the party together, and actually push them to win power. So I think it applies to the former president.
Dr. Brenya, I'm grateful for your time tonight. Dr. Brenya is a senior lecturer at the Department of History and Political Studies at the University of Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. Let's stay on this issue for some time. Meanwhile, a group within the party is alleging that the unity talk being spearheaded by former President Mahama is an attempt to impose him on the leadership of a party. Let's quickly speak to Dr. Edward Boateng, a governance analyst, to find out exactly if indeed this is the case. Dr. Boateng, grateful for your time tonight. Perhaps for those who are heading the campaign to stop the former president from leading the party, this is a clear signal that what they've been suggesting all this while is indeed the case?
Thank you very much. I think they may have a point, but if you look at the other side of the coin, there is a need for unity before they can even go for any primaries that they want to go. So I think, well, they have a case, but the former president also needs to unite the party before they can go for any primaries. But one would also ask whether meeting them at the regional level is a way of uniting them from the grassroots or not. But I was thinking that they would allow the constituency executive to take it up from the grassroots level, and then when they finish, then the leadership would consolidate it. And even if the leadership is going to consolidate it, you need all those who intend contesting him to be on the same platform with him so that he does not seem to be having an undue advantage over the others.
Can we say that he is only performing a role as the former commander who led the party into the last election? That's why he's spearheading this campaign?
No, I disagree with that school of thought. Because once a party goes into opposition, it is the chairman of the party together with the general secretary of the party that takes over the leadership of the party and unites the party going into the next election. He led them, they lost. It is good. He can support them to unite the party, but he's not supposed to be the front runner in uniting the party. But at the moment, the NDC constitution does not make him the leader of the party again. It is now the party chairman and the general secretary who together have the responsibility of uniting the party. So I think that yes, he can help them, but people can read meaning into it. For the purpose of total unity, you should step aside and allow the chairman and then the general secretary to play the
You're simply suggesting that by this act, the former president might be deepening the crisis, if there is any, in the party.
Well, I would not say he would deepen the crisis, but people who want to contest him may think that he wants to secure an undue advantage over them. That is why he's doing that. And that impression on its own is not good for the unification process. So I would advise that if he can, he should just step aside. Occasionally he can come in, but then he should allow the chairman and the general secretary to play the leadership role as required by the Constitution once they are in opposition.
I see. And so you can confidently say that perhaps the former president is trying to use the unity walk to stage a comeback.
No, I cannot confidently say that because I do not have the evidence. But what he is doing may imply, or others may construe it to mean that he wants to secure some undue advantage over the others and stage a comeback, and which will be easier for him if he uses that particular time.
I'm grateful for your time tonight. Dr. Eric Odro-Osai is a governance expert there talking to me on the NDC Unity Walk in Tamale. We'll tell you more on that story. There's more also on 3news.com. But when we come back, we'll tell you what WANEP is saying about what's happening in Togo. Stay with us. This is News at 10. Welcome back. Now let's turn to the Volta region. The executive director for the West African Network for Peace Building, Chukwemeka Eze, has suggested community institutions should be strengthened in order to help in conflict resolution.
I think the greatest tool in resolving conflict today that everybody knows is dialogue. And this dialogue is not something that you need to provide on a one-off basis. It's something that needs to be institutionalized. If you follow the state development in Africa, most of the conflict resolving mechanisms that we had under the tree or at the level of community and family levels, they were all eroded during the state creation. So what now needs to happen is that in the modern state, we need to create avenues for people to be able to resolve their disputes. And this, in my opinion, have to start at the community level. How do we ensure that these community institutions are strengthened in such a way that they are able to provide services in terms of conflict resolution? And not just in terms of conflict resolution, but in terms of also understanding the dynamics of and trends of this conflict early enough so that it can be nipped in the bud. Chieftaincy dispute is not something that, in my opinion, we can easily resolve through the court system. It needs to be something that the community citizens, empowered in terms of these tools for negotiation and dialogue, can be able to sit down and iron out. Otherwise, if you go to the court, you can win the case, but you have not also won the hearts of men and women.
And the Interior Minister Ambrose Derry has indicated Operation Vanguard will not stand down on its resolve to end galamsey. He, however, cautioned the task force not to take the law into their hands.
To pursue it in the context of the human rights of the people that we deal with. And that's fundamental. Mr. President believes in the rule of law. And so while we say we will not soften on the wrongdoing, we will also not soften in making sure that officers do not take the law into their hands and abuse people's human rights. So we followed all along. We are telling our officers on the ground, do your work, and very soon you will hear us going to a field to check it out. Do your work, but it's no license for you to go and take the law into your own hands. And anybody who offends should be arrested and due process pursued. So we are not sending an execution team out there, no, but we are sending a team that is committed to make sure that the right thing is done.
Former President of Nigeria, Olusegun Obasanjo, has questioned whether President Nasingbe has anything new to offer. He spoke to BBC's Peter Okoche.
I believe that President Nasingbe will have to do something about it.
You think he should step down?
I believe he should have a new constitution that will have limit to the number of terms that anybody can be president, and he should abide by that.
I mean, he's been there now for 12 years. Do you think it's time for him to step down?
I believe whatever he has to do in terms of development, whatever ideas he has, he must have exhausted them by now, unless he has something new that we don't know.
And is that the same advice you'd have for other so-called sit-tight, long-staying leaders on the continent?
Well, really, after 12, 15 years.
Some of them up to 30?
Some of them up to 30. Some have fears. Well, but they are, I think we are now, they are becoming a rare commodity. And maybe if you don't leave office, what happens? Office will leave you. Not too long ago, I think President Dos Santos decided to leave office. Maybe others will see wisdom in what he has done.
Meanwhile, the president of the National House of Chiefs is urging ECOWAS to work towards ensuring effective democratic process in Togo to enhance the rule of law and development.
The Togolese deserve a lot more than they are going through today. The Togolese have to learn from the trends that are prevalent across the world, and in Africa in particular. It looks like the Togolese have remained the only, I would say, non-democratic, really speaking, non-democratic country in West Africa. The only country that I'm aware of now in West Africa that does not have a term limit to the president's reign, and certainly that is anti-democratic. That is not acceptable in today's world. The contemporary situation we have across the world, that perpetuation of family rule or creation of a dynasty is frowned upon. And I think it's about time that our brothers in Togo learn to be part of the trends that are ruling across the world. What is happening there hurts us because to the foreigner, it's instability in Africa. Not many people know that, Africa is not one country. So I am particularly very concerned, firstly, because of the unfortunate suffering that our brothers in Togo will be going through. Secondly, the potential impact on us in terms of flood of refugees. And of course, thirdly, the impression created abroad that Africa is still unsafe. Africa is still not stable. Democracy hasn't taken root in Africa, when the opposite is true in democratic Ghana. I would wish Togolese would soon be enjoying the kind of peaceful transition from one government to the other that has become a permanent feature of our democracy. And so that we can all boast that all of West Africa is peaceful, all of West Africa is safe for investors, so that we as leaders can work together to pursue the best interests of our people, which I've always said is development. Development that brings jobs, incomes, the big amenities that society requires, enhanced standards of living, and of course, happiness, which I've always said is the ultimate. That's the essence of human existence, happiness. And our shared happiness is what we should all be aiming for. So I hope that the leaders of West Africa would work assiduously to ensure that change comes to Togo. So Togo will become part of the democratic change, the wind that is blowing across all of West Africa and indeed all of Africa.
Now to the health sector. Inadequate incubators at the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital in the Central Region is exposing premature babies to cold, as there are only 3 incubators that serve about 100 babies in a month. The lack of space has also forced officials to convert an enclosed walkway into a ward for babies at the facility.
Between 50 and 100 babies are admitted to the pediatric unit of the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital within a month. Some mothers from within the Central Region and those referred from beyond the confines of the region depend on the unit for the survival of their babies after about 9 months carrying them. Some babies after birth either do not catch breath at all or struggle for breath, while others are also born with jaundice. There are those who are born at premature stages, and all babies under these 3 conditions need incubation services in order to live. Nurses at the hospital say they improvise the 3 incubators available to cater for extra babies at a go, exposing other babies left in the open to the cold. According to Veronica Kumsin, principal nurse of the pediatric unit, although there are warmers to keep the babies warm, the warmers are not sufficient.
We try to wrap them with sheets, blankets, and then put on caps and then socks. But still, cold, and so we have to bring them back to the radiant warmer, and then we warm them for a while, and then we put them back.
Babies of different conditions are supposed to be separated from one another, but another challenge facing the unit is lack of space for delivery of health services, forcing unit officials to convert a walkway into a ward. Babies responding to treatment are moved to the walkway to create space for new cases.
Here is an improvised space, and so when we get even 10 of the incubators, we won't get a place to keep them. So we need a space, a new place for the unit, so that when we get the machines, we'll be able to keep them and then separate the babies.
Officials say these situations deprive babies from receiving warmth from their mothers, which helps to speed up the process of incubation. However, to save babies, Coco Charities has donated an incubator worth $10,000 to help address the situation at the hospital. This forms part of an initiative developed by the foundation 3 years ago to provide 100 incubators to major health centers across the country as means of reducing infant mortality. Leader of the team, Kwame Sefakai, said the incubator is the 10th out of 100 the team aims to reach, and expressed optimism.
We should have less reports, or fewer, or even probably 0 reports of infant mortality, simply because we don't have incubators. And it is our hope that this presentation will go a long way to help. People come from as far as Takrade, Axim, and the rest to deliver here, and sadly, we lose some of these little angels.
Medical Director Eric Ngadu, who received the incubator on behalf of the hospital, expressed profound gratitude to Coco Charities and was hopeful the gesture will reduce pressure at the pediatric unit. Koforidua in the Eastern Region is next to benefit from the Coco Charities.
The Lebanese ambassador to Ghana says the promotion of responsible freedom of speech is crucial in strengthening Ghana's democracy. Addressing some 20 beneficiaries of a Lebanese community scholarship in Accra, he insisted professional journalism can only be achieved through responsible and adherence to ethical considerations.
For 5 consecutive years, students of the Ghana Institute of Journalism have benefited from Lebanese community support to pursue various academic dreams. 20 students benefited from this year's package, comprising 15 undergraduate and 5 postgraduate students. The scholarship covers full tuition fees of the undergraduates and 75% for the postgraduate beneficiaries. Aside the Ghana Institute of Journalism, the Lebanese community has annual scholarship for law students in the universities of Ghana and KNUST. Again, the Lebanese community extends support to the children of martyrs of the Ghana Armed Forces, the immigration and police services on annual basis towards their education.
The Lebanese community considers they are part of the Ghanaian society, and they want to help education in Ghana. In this program, it's only education, but it could be extended to other things and to other fields.
A delighted rector of the Ghana Institute of Journalism, Wilberforce Jisa, urged the beneficiaries to justify their selection. Some of the beneficiaries expressed their gratitude to the donors and promised not to disappoint.
I'm grateful that you stayed there to be part of our show. And of course, to all of you who watched us, thanks so much for your time. My guys in the studio, cameraman Felix Azaglo and Eko Johnson, Theophilus Clotte, John Flagbo, Ben Mensah, Albert Mensah, and of course, Manasseh Stark and Joseph Amoncho. The show was put together by Samuel Wuswinchi, studio director Brenda Dugan. My name is Bright Nanamfo. Have a great night, but stay right here on TV3. Good night.